Why, hello everybody. It's not the best lighting situation, but it's what we got. Northeast Oklahoma doing the things. JC2, Frank P, David Blessing. Good evening, everybody. Brian Homesteading Couch Shalom, brother. Shout out to the men's group Monday. I saw Hugh did an excellent job this evening. Bless y'all. Good to see y'all. I'm on the road. Probably will not be Free Spirit Shalom. Probably will not be in a position to be doing Tactical Tuesday tomorrow. So I figured we'd try Tactical Monday? Question mark. Michael Parks, Shalom, brother. Long time no see. So, poor boy, Shalom. So, just figured we hang out a little bit, do a little Q&A, drink a pretend beer. Hello, everybody. Oh my gosh, the chat. Even with 200 people here, it just flies by. Bear, did you get my email? I don't know. I don't know yet. Yeah, that light in the background, it's the best light. It's tremendous, believe me. And we can see what happens without it. Is that better? Actually, I think like that's better. We'll go to bed, Free Spirit. Yeah, Sergeant Fubar. It's, I will not, very likely not, be around Stumps, Roots, and Shoots. Who are you? Who are you? What are you doing? You ought to know what I'm doing. I texted my wife about it, which means she probably told you about it, which means you ought to know. You ought to know by now. Canuck, great job on Men's Group Monday. Thank you, brother. Whose hand is that? This hand? Or this hand? So, anyway. Let's say the same thing 3 times now. I don't believe, thank you, Robert, I will be in a position to do Tactical Tuesday tomorrow night, but I did have some moments tonight, so I figured we could spend them together and kind of like as a Tactical Monday IOU for the live stream that won't happen tomorrow. David Blessing, Tactical Tuesday is prepper Q&A, man. It's a prepper Q&A. So, you ask questions. Yes, please do back porch bitches tomorrow. Please do that. 300 Win Mag. Yes, of course. Yes, well, it's slightly tactical. If we have fixed bayonets to it, it would be more tactical. Any advice on butchering sheep? That's a great question. Yes, if you can, separate out the one that you're going to butcher a day or 2 before, and then don't feed them for the first 24 hours or so before you butcher. Longer is better. Definitely don't feed them the morning of. Let's see what else for butchering sheep. Butchering sheep is a lot like butchering deer. Sharp knives and a way to resharpen them. I like a Mora, and then I have a couple of very sharp Victorinox paring knives that Mark Chase sent to me. So I've got my Mora knife and these paring knives that Mark Chase sent me that are great for butchering. You really don't need a very large knife. I mean, a 4-inch blade is great. A 3.5-inch blade is great. Sheep over about 14 months, the hide really starts to get tough to come away from the skin. And we've had much less of an issue with mature male sheep being so smelly and ruddy that the meat is ruined versus goats. Goats is a whole nother story. The whole horny, stinky goat thing is a reality, man. Sheep, we haven't had that problem with, and we did butcher one that was like a 3-year-old male, not a dominant male, but a 3-year-old male, and he was nice and tender, nice sweet meat. I also very much so prefer to feed my sheep like straight sweet feed, the ones I'm gonna butcher, like a month before. But if you can't do that, feed all of them sweet feed and some corn too a month before. It really helps the fat, which really helps the flavor, and it helps keep it from getting dry when you cook it. But other than that, man, it's your basic primals. You got your front 2 legs, your rear 2 legs, and then you've got the 5th quarter, which is, you know, the trunk of the animal. You have your tenderloins, your back straps on the outside. Then you have what we call fish tenders on the inside. Don't throw those away. They're pieces of meat. They're on the rear portion of the saddle towards the tail, and they're tenders that are maybe 3/4 of an inch to an inch in diameter and maybe 8 inches long. Best meat on the animal. Salt, pepper, grill, cook it medium, let it sit for a few minutes, slice it on the bias. It's absolutely phenomenal. A little melted butter with some onion powder in it, maybe a touch of garlic. It's the best thing you've ever had. Let's see, what else about butchering sheep? Friends are good. When I hang my sheep, I tend to, you know, after they're butchered, I shoot them with a 22. That's the slaughtering. Shoot them in the 22 right here, and they drop. Although many of our brethren just grab a hold of them, cut their necks, which I may do. I may give that a shot here on Sukkot. And anyway, after they're dead, then I hang mine in my barn, and once they're hanging, I put a wheelbarrow underneath, and then all the stuff, the guts and the skin and all that, the hide, the hooves, all goes right down into that wheelbarrow. And then when I'm done, I've got a cleaned carcass hanging. I can wheel my wheelbarrow over to my compost pile, dig a hole, dump the wheelbarrow into that, cover the hole, spray the wheelbarrow out, guts are handled. And then I've got my hanging sheet. I'll break it down into basically the 4 quarters and the 5th quarter, aka the trunk, right? So hind legs, front legs, and then the saddle or the torso area. And then usually that goes inside onto a large white commercial cutting board. Then I break it down even further from there. This portion, if this is the hoof, the lower portion of the leg, both front and back, you're gonna wanna grind that. It works really good if you take that grind and split it 50-50 with 80-20 beef, and then season it for breakfast sausage. It's the best freaking breakfast sausage you've ever had. And then this portion here makes decent steaks. If you know how to part those muscles out, just follow the seams on the muscles. And then for steaks, you want to cut across the grain. And then for roasts, just leave them whole and tie them. And then the quad, the hind leg, that quad, there's 4 muscle groups there. Typically what I'll do is on one side, I just bone out, I take the femur out, and then I have these 4 muscles all still attached, and they kind of roll out like that. One of those muscles is significantly larger than the others, and I'll drag a knife across that so it lays flat as well. Salt, pepper, onion powder, garlic, paprika, cumin, and some Italian seasoning, and then olive oil all over that. Grill it on both sides so it's super charred up, and then roll it up and put it over indirect heat and let it carry until it's just about medium. Then let it sit, slice it on the bias. It's phenomenal. The other side, I'll take those 4 muscles and separate out those 4 muscles and turn those into roasts. For the 3 smaller muscles and the 1 larger muscle, I'll cut that across the grain on the bias, usually about 1 inch thick, and make steaks out of that. So that's how I butcher sheep in a nutshell. I don't save the hides because I've not had much luck with tanning. Really what I did was make a fly factory when I tried to tan. And I don't save the hooves. And we do tend to stew the bones. And I do take most of the chain meat, or what would be the bacon on the sheep, the belly, the navel there. We'll grind that. We'll grind the chain meat. We'll grind the grind the rib meat that's in between the ribs for most of the ribs. The larger ribs, as you work down the rib cage, they get shorter and smaller. The shorter ones, it's not even worth, there's no meat in there. But the larger ribs, about the first 5 or 6 ribs, it's worth dragging your knife through there and cleaning that out and throwing that into the bowl of the stuff that you're going to grind. And it's that chain meat has a high amount of fat in it as well, which is good for the grind because it helps keep it from going dry, and it helps keep it to stay together as well. It keeps it tacky so it doesn't fall apart. If you've ever like tried to make a burger out of ground turkey and it just all fell apart, that's because there's not enough fat in it to hold it together. So it's nice to incorporate that chain meat into the grind for the sheep, and then it helps. So let's see, what else? We don't eat the head or anything on the head. We don't eat the spine. The soup bones, the stock bones, we'll cook those down. The dog loves it when we butcher sheep because he gets lots of stuff to chew on. We give the dog the heart and the kidneys and the liver, lungs and everything else. No. But the dog really likes butchering day, but he's well behaved enough that he'll sit there and watch them get thrown tidbits, because if he gets up in my business, he gets a boot to the head. So there's the vast majority of the things that I know about butchering sheep in a nutshell. So there we go. Thoughts on riding beef cattle into battle with a samurai sword? Asking for my wife. Well, big dog, it sounds like you have an awesome wife. And I'm going to say, yeah, probably. Really, my only critique would be samurai sword. Probably not the best for level 4 plates. Maybe consider something like, not even, well, a katana and a samurai sword are either very similar or the same, depending on who you ask. I would say something more like a Grants vs. Brooks felling axe or something like that. So, cows are really slow until they're not. They're good over short distances. Maybe, yeah, but maybe we could upgrade this to like a bison. So, butchered 40 roosters today, 40 more to go. That's awesome. Excuse me. ABT, shalom. What are you doing? Okay. Samurai sword would be great if it gets between the armor. Yeah, if it gets between the armor. If it gets between the armor. The back end of a felling axe is just a big square hammer. I just love the war hammer concept. I mean, just axes are my thing, man. Axes are my thing. Yup, swords are crazy, dangerous. But axes? Do you even axe, though? Right. A pick would work for sure. Alright, what else we got? Goes the shalom, brother. My LGDs will scavenge a dead sheep but never kill one. I have a big enough place and flock monkeys now and then. Don't freak out if it happens to you all. Well, my LGD, my first one, we didn't train well enough and it killed one of our pregnant ewes. And then I immediately killed it. So, and I know that our dog killed that sheep. So, sucks. Tomahawk. Tanya, shalom. How would I keep water catchment from freezing? Well, it depends on where you are. Basically, south of the Mason-Dixon line, just the volume of water is enough to keep it from freezing. Larger volumes of water tend to not freeze. Another way is to keep it moving. Another way is to immerse a heating element into it so that it stays just above freezing. Another way is to bury your tanks mostly below the ground. Another way is to have them inside of a building, even if it's just a barn or something like that, that keeps the breeze off of them and gets the temperature inside the barn just slightly above ambient temperature, which is below freezing. Another way is to put them up on blocks up off of the concrete or the ground so that they're not, like if you're in a serious freezing area and you have cold concrete, that's not helping either. But most of those tanks still have those black pads underneath them, like fake pallet things. So, Danny Jackson, shalom, thank you. Mucho apreciado. Bubbles is another one. Great idea. Bear has least remind people the importance of tribe that people will live with when it really gets bad, and having some kind of plan. Yeah, man. I think I remind y'all about Prepper Nation. Bless you. Thank you. I think I remind y'all about tribe all the time. Also, another thing you can do is put your water tanks inside of a, what do you call that thing? Greenhouse. A lot of people do this, and the water tanks act like thermal batteries, meaning that they absorb heat during the day and they slowly release it during the night, and that helps keep the temperature inside of the greenhouse consistent, and it also keeps the water from freezing. Why are you making this shocked face?
Okay, so you know those like cupcakes that we got in Tulsa?
Uh-huh.
We have another one of those places with those awesome cupcakes.
Uh-huh.
Near here.
Near here?
Yeah, like DoorDash near here.
Like DoorDash near here?
Yeah, it's about variety 6-pack, 2 of each flavor for 24 cents.
Take my money.
Because I'm good like that. I'm like
'Cause
Renee
you're good
Jr.
like that? You like Renee Jr.
Yeah.
Those are big words.
I'm like bad Jr.
Here, use this
All
card.
7 of them.
I got a lot of businesses. Got a lot of cards. Get out of here. Make cupcakes appear. Hey, it's the NWA Prepper. Huh?
I didn't know it was.
Yeah. Bear, have a good night. Puzzleman, bless you. How are things tonight? Patriot Mechanic. They're good, man. We're just on the road down in Texas, handling some business, and I got my 2 big kids with me, and I ordered my scriptures last night. How come it's not here yet? Well, the carrier pigeon may or may not have been attacked by a hawk, an owl, an eagle, an egret, a pelican, an AWACS system. I don't know. Rise may affect shipping times, right? Bama Buckeye, shalom, brother. Just got back to Cincinnati from Arkansas. I love the TCCC training. Thank you, Bear and crew, for putting on such an awesome training. I'm so blessed I got to attend. Brother, it was great to meet you, man. It really was. And your story is awesome. And keep going. You're doing great, man. Just keep going. You're doing great. And I really enjoyed doing the TCCC training this past weekend. Like, I talked about it twice on the brief this morning. It was awesome. Really good times. So, what do you look for in 2-way radios? Honestly, Colton, I look for the 2-way radios that my commo guys say, hey, these are the radios we need. I really don't know. What do I need to water bath? A tub, some Hero soap, and peanut butter whiskey. So, but everybody else, you need a water bath canner, a propane stove, some salt, some vinegar. Yes, dear. Yeah, yes, I have an account, but it's not gonna, I don't know. Maybe text mom and see if Renee can do it from where she is, or are you not Renee Jr.? What's going on now?
No, I can do that. I just don't know if you want me to make your account. Like, go ahead and like use Bear and create a DoorDash account, or like a
Sure.
DoorDash account.
Sure.
Okay.
Do that. It's gonna need an email though.
Yeah, I know.
I really liked Texas while driving through. Stopped at a few places. I think I'd like to explore that further. Chasing life. Do you still use Motorola? Yes, we have Motorola's. We have lots of stuff, but I recently said on a Patreon video, and so I don't blame you for not knowing this, but we've gotten to the point now that because of what is going on in the world, commo is not something that I'm going to discuss openly anymore. I have a few videos on it that outline essentially the depth of my expertise on commo, which is not much. So thanks, Bear. You've gotten me back to Yah. Now I'm trying to learn more. You also pulled me out of a really bad place. Rick, bless you, Rick. All praise to the Most High. Hey man, could you wish Al V a good first day back to school tomorrow? Al, I hope you have an awesome first day back to school tomorrow, buddy. Be brave. Only be strong and courageous. It's going to be awesome. Tanya Curry, bless you. Hey, Chasing Life, I'll tell you what, the only peanut butter whiskey worth buying is Screwball. The rest of them are not good. Like, straight up, they're not good. You texted Faux Nay. Okay. Feelings on feed corn as food preps. Highly recommended. Highly recommended. You just got to do it right.
You can't change what cupcakes they give you.
Okay.
So there's,
All right, babe. I got to do this, okay? If you want cupcakes to appear here, make cupcakes appear here. Bear, can you pull the string tight so we can hear you? What are you talking about? Can you explain feed corn? You get feed porn. Feed corn. That's funny. Feed porn. Go watch feed porn. I'm sure if you search really hard for it, you can find some. Although I legitimately don't know what that would look like. I feel like there'd be some farmers involved. Maybe some cattle. Probably very popular in the Middle East. Dudley, shalom, brother. Feed corn would be, you get it in 40-pound sacks or 50-pound sacks from the feed store. You put it in a bucket with Mylar. You put 2,000 to 2,500 cc's of oxygen absorber in there, and then you put a lid on that bucket. The end. You also should research nixtamalization. I'm going to say this one time. Nixtamalization. 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 There's some good videos out there. Arkansas Preparedness Network and or Phase 1 Readiness has a very good video on nixtamalization. And what that does is, if you have a diet high in corn, meaning the majority of your calories are coming from corn, you will get a niacin B12 deficiency. And so nixtamalizing your corn, which is a very simple process. If you ever had hominy or masa, you've had nixtamalized corn. What that does is it frees up the trace minerals in the corn so that your body can absorb them, and keeps you from dying of the 3 Ds: dehydration, diarrhea, and disorientation, I believe it is, but I could be completely wrong on that last one. So there you go. Best way to cook bear. Have multiple black bears around for backup meat supply. I have literally no idea for 2 reasons. Lauren, bless you. Thank you. Those 3 Ds sound like a heck of a weekend, right? I don't eat bear because Leviticus 11 says you don't eat things that go forth on paws, therefore it's not food. And I keep Leviticus 11. And why would I eat my brethren? So I have 0 recipes for bear. I've run into a couple of black bear, like up close and personal in my life. Ulfhednar tribesman, shaloha, brother. Both bears that I've run into in the wild, I just like immediately had a mutual respect for. I was like, oh, we don't eat these things. They're just giant furry dogs that might want to eat us. In which case, do you even hollow point, bro? So. Patriot Plumber, shalom, man. Bear, in high school, were you a quiet, nerdy person or always like you are now?
In school.
Brent, that's a great question. Well, the first thing you should understand, Brent, is that in high school, my senior year, I went to school Monday morning from 7 a.m. till 12, and I did all of my schoolwork on Monday, other than English, which we'll come to in a moment. And then I worked for myself Monday afternoon through Saturday, building a business from the age of 17 through the age of 22, my first business, which was timber cutting and tree work. And hey, Bob, Harlan, can you turn that down just a little bit, please? Thank you. That woman's voice is like nails on the chalkboard. It's just like incredibly obnoxious to me right now. So when I was in school, senior year was only for 5 hours a week, and then I did my English. I was required to do a research paper, a 15-page single-spaced paper on anything. And so I chose the American involvement in Southeast Asia during the Vietnam War period. And my 15-page single-spaced research paper was 286 pages when I turned it in. I got an A++ on it, and literally went back to visit that teacher a decade later and was very proud to discover that she was keeping it in the top left drawer of her desk and hitting her students with it when they failed to live up to her expectations. It was rolled up like a bat and she would beat people with it. So that literally embodies everything I want out of a high school experience right there. That was phenomenal. Because you can't detail the Vietnam War in 15 pages. Too much stuff happened. And so, in addition to that, I played football prior to my senior year. And then, personality-wise, I've always been this way. I started taking college classes in the 7th grade because regular math and science classes weren't cutting it. And I get bored easily. I've always been smart. I get bored easily. I have to be challenged. If I'm not challenged, a bored and latent bear is the worst thing on the planet. Just terrible. So I have to stay not just busy, but fruitful. And I've always been that way. I was that way in high school. And all of my buddies, all my friends in high school were the social rejects from every other clique. I was the guy that had the 90-pound soaking wet Jewish guy as his friend, and the 5-foot tall, 5-foot wide Latin girl, and the weird emo goth kid, and the jocks that didn't really want to be jocks, and the one random white kid that listened to rap, and the one random black kid that listened to hard rock, and like just everybody that couldn't fit anywhere else. Those were my people. It's interesting that the Father says, my people are a peculiar people. Me too. And I have always vehemently defended my people. I did not get in a lot of fights, but I ended a lot of fights. People would be picking on my people, and I would just beat the stuff out of them. Make it happen, Renee Jr.
I'm very hard to count, so I'm good.
Okay, well, you keep doing things over there that are a distraction to me. So execute. See, I'm an executor. Get things done. I don't know, man. I'll tell you 2 stories about high school. One was my little sister was also in school at the school I went to. And the reason I started my tree business was my mom worked for the telephone company, and the union went on strike for 2 years. And at the time, my dad was out of the picture, and my mom was making $100 a week to pay bills, and feed a house full of kids. And so I started my tree business because we needed the revenue. And my little sister liked to get Snapples out of the vending machine. And so I would send her with $2 every day to get a Snapple. I didn't have a lot of money. That's why I started this tree business in the first place. But I made sure she had $2 every day to get a Snapple. And so it was noon, and it was a Monday, and I was done with my schooling for the week, and I was headed out to my truck so I could go cut timber. And I'm walking through the lunchroom, and I see this obnoxious little S-hole walk over to my sister, grab her Snapple, crank the top off of it, chug half of it, start laughing. Ah, ha, 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 ha. I walk back over to his buddy's table. My little sister just, her whole countenance fell. She was embarrassed and she was pissed. And she was hurt and she didn't know what to do. And I walked beeline over to that kid and I grabbed him by the back of his neck and slammed his face into the table. And held him there. You could have heard a pin drop. I said, here's what we're gonna do. You're gonna go apologize to my sister right now. And then you were gonna buy her another Snapple. And if you ever do this again, I will break your neck. Do you understand me? Yes, sir. Okay. And I carried him back over to my sister's table and said, apologize. I'm sorry. No, apologize. I'm so sorry and I will never do it again. And now buy her a Snapple. I let go and he went and bought her a Snapple and brought it back and set it down. And I said, will you ever do this again? No. Good answer. Are we good here? Yep, we're good here. And the teachers were just standing there like, got my truck and left. And the other anecdote from high school I'll give you is there was a little tiny kid. I think he was a Puerto Rican kid. He was like 5'2", 5'3", skinny kid. But he hung out with all the really tall basketball kids. And he kind of ran their crew. They thought they were tough and whatever. I was walking down the hallway and I had my binder in my hand, and that kid, he knew what he was doing. He didn't bump into me. He just reached out and smacked it out of my hand and goes, man, you better watch where you're walking. I really had an anger problem back in the day, but it's always been a righteous anger thing. Like I said, I don't start fights, but I finish them. I grabbed that kid and punched him into a locker. Little feet dangling like this. I said, you're gonna pick up my locker, or pick up my binder and hand it back to me and apologize. Do you understand me? He's looking over at his buddies. And his one buddy, and they're all, you know, as tall as an immature pine tree, all standing around me, these 7-foot tall high school kids. And one of them goes, man, white dude is crazy. The other one goes, yeah, he fixing to kill you. And I was like, yep. And they're like, help me, help me. Set him back on the ground. I said, pick my shit up. He picked it up. I said, now hand it to me. And he handed it back to me. Don't ever do that again. I won't. Good. Go. And they did. And there was a hallway full of teachers standing there going. And one of them pulled me aside and said, hey, I didn't see anything. And if you ever have to do that again, I won't see anything. I won't call her out, but I remember her name. She was awesome. So that's how I was in high school. And I'm still that way now. Don't be evil to people. Don't pick on people. Don't make life unnecessarily more complicated and brutal than it needs to be. But don't be afraid to just hit back hard. Balance of action matters. Yeah, and be diligent in your work. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. Do what you say you're gonna do. So, good question. My daddy was one of those kind of teachers. That's awesome. Chad, yep, me too, man. I mean, there was a girl that I was friends with in high school who was just gorgeous. She's an absolutely gorgeous girl. And there was a kid that I had issues with. The first day I ever saw this kid in 7th grade, him and his brother jumped me. I beat the crap out of them. They got a few good licks in too, but I beat the crap out of them. And that continued all the way through high school. And this one brother, this girl was walking through the lunchroom. I was not there to see it, but I saw the aftermath. And girl said something to this guy, and he just hauled off and punched her right in the face. Bah! Knocked her feet out from under her. Tray goes flying. A big black eye. It was a Friday night, and there was a pool hall next to a bar in Orangetown, New York. And the band I was in with all these older guys was playing a show at the bar next to the pool hall where this guy was. And so I was there, and somebody came up to me and was like, yo, dude is right next door. And I was 5 minutes from going on stage. I said, hey, everybody, hold on. I'll be right back. And I went next door, went into the pool hall, found him. He was right there. And I grabbed a hold of his shirt and just started going. And I beat him from the back of the pool hall all the way through the front door and out the front door. And we ended up on the curb. And I will never forget, it was the first time I really thought, oh, we got to put a leash on this. Because I would hit him and his head would hit smack down and hit the concrete and bounce back up again. And I'd hit him again and it would bounce back and forth. And I was dribbling his head off of the concrete. And his face went from looking like a face to looking like 2 pounds of ground beef. And it took 4 people to pull me off of him. And I was enraged. You don't hit women. Period, the end. You will, if you want bear to turn your face into hamburger, go ahead and hit a woman and let me find out about it. And it took 4 people to pull me off of him. My guitarist and his brother, who was one of the other guys that I had previously, up until then, made a habit of beating the crap out of as well, and 2 other guys. And then I went inside and played that show. A couple, 3 years ago, I got an email, and it was from that guy. And he said, hey, I just want to thank you. I had a drug problem, and I had an attitude problem, and I made a lot of mistakes after you whooped my ass, but I want you to know that you whooping my ass was the beginning of the change that I needed to make. So thank you for whipping my ass. I now have a wife and 2 small daughters, and I was not a good person, and I'm not saying I'm a good person now, but I'm definitely a better person than I was. And it all started with you beating the shit out of me out in front of that pool hall. So this is what I mean. Sometimes the Father uses subcontractors to mete out his vengeance. So that's what I was like in high school. Oh, and I was also playing drums in metal bands. So subcontractors, amen. So what else we got? I've never been a big guy, but used to when I see red, it was on. Thank you. I have that in wraps now. Chad, I'm the same way, dude. And that's, my mom used to, like, I'd come home covered in blood, none of it mine. And my mom would just be crying and crying, weeping. She said, one day you're going to kill somebody and not even know why. Because I would get so mad. I had so much pent-up aggression at the injustices of the world and the hurt and the hardship and the hate that's out there that people unnecessarily heap upon one another. The cruelty of man, that it would just enrage me, and I would just go to town and just beat the piss out of people. I mean, I've been in literally more fights than I can count, and I have definitively lost 2 of them, and those 2 involved multiple opponents. In one engagement they had baseball bats, and so I'll take the L. They earned it. So, but I cannot stomach people being unnecessarily cruel to other people. I hate bullies. I absolutely hate bullies. It's just insecurity and malice all blended together and poured out on somebody that doesn't deserve it. And so, but I had to learn how to take that facet of my persona and put a lid on it and keep a lid on it until it's needed. And then I tell people all the time, I'm not that person anymore, but I keep that person in my back pocket and in case I need to whip them out and make good use of it, then put them back again when I'm done. You know, and then martial arts training from there, you realize, you know, with great power comes great responsibility. But that still doesn't mean that I won't just thump the crap out of somebody that's got it coming. So, yeah, that was me in high school. What happened to that straight knife you bought your wife? It's in my knife drawer in the living room, or not in the living room, the kitchen. She's rocking an Ontario Knife Company Rat 1 folder right now. Matthew Kitchens, all it takes is one bullet to change your way of thinking, tough guy. Oh, believe me, I'm aware of that too. I mean, obviously things change. Once you start learning how to manipulate weapons platforms and see what happens with gunshot wounds. I mean, literally just got done training a bunch of people on how to treat gunshot wounds yesterday. You know, and just so we're all on the same page here, I literally was just saying how I was in high school, not necessarily how I am now. I'm much more controlled now than I was. So, I get it. No, I get it. I'm fortunate that I didn't beat the shit out of somebody that had a gun on them. That's the truth. But, you know, now I have a gun on me all the time, and I'm intimately familiar with the effects of hollow points. So, Tyler, I haven't figured out how to do the technology side of things. I know how to put together a TCCC Zoom call. I haven't figured out if it's something that's worth doing. You really need to be in the room. You really need to be in the room. That's the challenge, man. Hey, Cassie, good to see you. And unfortunately, they don't allow us to carry like that in New York. Nope. But there's a lot of people that carry all the time in New York that, whether they're allowed to or not. Do you open carry in public? It depends on how you define public, and it depends on the day. Tales from the Cryptid. Fighting to live for us and walk. Please keep praying she's strong. Don't want to see her like this. What is your mama's name? Tales from the Cryptid. What is your mama's name? Aaron. Aaron. All right, Bear Nation, you know what we're fixing to do. Father Yah, we just lift up your daughter, Erin, to you and ask that your will would be done with her. Father, if she is in pain, I pray that you would ease it. If she's having discomfort, I pray that you would comfort it. Father, if there's healing that's needed, I pray that you would heal her. I pray that whatever your will is, that it would be done, Father. That you would use this time as an opportunity to build testimony and perhaps perform a miracle. Father, you made us fearfully and wonderfully in your image. You know everything there is to know about us. You know the intricacies of how every single part of us works and doesn't work. So, Father, be it your will, I humbly ask that you would heal this woman, that you would hang in there, you would send your Ruach HaKodesh, your Holy Spirit, to her and to the family for peace, for wisdom and discernment, Father, and for strength and perseverance, and for comfort. And above all things, I ask that your will would be done. And we ask these things in the mighty name of Yeshua HaMashiach. Amen. Aaron, you got it. We will continue to pray for Aaron. Bless y'all. I love the Bear Nation. You guys are awesome. And girls too. Brent Winfield, I have no idea. I'm not in charge of the Blue Ranch stuff. Tell us some tactical stuff, please. Like what? Like, what tactical things you want to know? No, we're awesome. My pastor likes to say that, and he's right. We are awesome. Danny Jackson, bless you. Tactical toilet paper, that's true. Tactical chickens. 350 Win Mag. Off the top of my head, tactical stuff. I'm Enjoyer Mounds. Really? Neither. Come on, man. Reese's Cups, Snickers bar.
Almond Joy.
Tommy Salter. Shalom, brother. Long day tomorrow. Any recommendations for an EDC light? Not for a gun, but for in my pocket use at work. Franklin Farmstead, that depends on how much light you're going to need and how often. But I'll show you what I carry. I don't even remember what this cost. It wasn't terribly expensive. But it is a Through Night TC15. And it's in this cool burnt bronzish FDE color. Not that that matters, because it spends the entirety of its life either in my pocket or on, which is so bright that you can't see it. So it really doesn't matter what color it is. But it's obviously it's about that big. I don't remember what the lumens are on this. Somebody can look it up. But it comes with this battery, which is an 18650 battery, 3100 milliamp hour, and yeah, so that's what I keep in my pocket for like walking around and needing a flashlight. And then I have Streamlight TLR1 HLs on my pistols. So if I need a weapons light on my pistol, I got one. And this doesn't have like modes, or does it have modes? Yeah, it has modes. So low, then press the button and hold. Medium, press the button and hold. High, low, medium, high, and then you press the button on and off. It's got a little push button right there with some cool, I don't know what that is, Axe No Fire logo or something. I feel like this was like between $25 and $40, and I think it was closer to 25 bucks. They hold up pretty good. This rides around in my pocket all the time, like always. It's always there. And I've lost a couple, but I always keep replacing them with the same thing. It does come with a little belt clip that I've never put on there. Maybe if I did, then I wouldn't lose so many. And then I do have in my bag right here, I have a Wow Tac. This is an A2s Headlamp. And Mark Chase sent me one of these. And then I was like, you know what? That's cool. And then I got a couple more for my bags and stuff. Because don't tell anybody. But Mark Chase has a flashlight addiction. So, and this has a low setting, hold the button, and a high setting, and then a really high setting. Low, medium, high, then just push the button on and off. Okay, at Paula Joe Davis, Bear Independent, explain what you mean when you say, Yah said to me, or something similar. You mean like when God talks to me, the creator of the universe? How does that work? It's a really good question. One that I will do my best to answer in such a way that is A, coherent, and B, not boring, and C, hopefully doesn't make me sound crazy. All right, let's see what I can do. When the Father talks to me, here's the deal. That still small voice. Everybody has this voice inside of them, okay? Some people, and me at times, have had multiple voices. Should I do this? Yes, do that. Well, that would be a good idea, but no, it wouldn't be a good idea for this and that and the blah, 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 blah. Well, it's Proverbs, I believe, says, be still and know that I am Yah. Know that I am Yahweh, your Elohim, the Lord, your God. Be still. Sit. Listen. The more I read my Bible and the more I pray and talk to Him, and I mean talk to Him, all day I'm saying things like, wow, Yah, that is a beautiful mountain. You did a really good job on that one. Or, I'm super stressed right now. What are you doing? Like, who do you think I am that I can handle this? Or, I need a break. Can you make a break for me? Even if it's 15 minutes in my schedule today, that'd be great. Or, I'm really concerned about this person. I'm just going to lift them up and put them at your feet, and I trust you, Father, to just do what you got to do with this. And it would be my prayer that you would get me in line with your will, not you get in line with my will. And so whatever happens, let me be okay with that. Or Father, just give me big enough shoulders and a strong enough back to carry all the things that you're giving me. Like, I talk to Him like that. And when He talks back to me, most of the time, what I hear now, because we have a relationship now, is the voice of a gut intuition. Very often it's, should I do this? You know you should do this. It's what I hear back. I'll give you a prime example. When I had 2,000 followers on YouTube, I was convicted to read my Bible. And when I say convicted, I was not hearing trumpets blaring and angels flying out of the sky. Nobody showed up and said, be convicted. I just had this overwhelming feeling that I had to do this. We can read in John chapter 16 that the Holy Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh, convicts us concerning sin, righteousness, and judgment. And the Father was working on me on all of those things, and He was convicting me. I had this overwhelming, a feeling cheapens it. It was just a bone deep thing that I had to do. That's a conviction. I had to do it. And I knew that if I didn't do it, I would miss out on something fabulous. That I had an opportunity to do something meaningful and wonderful and just good. And that if I would step through the door of that opportunity, that He would bless it. So He said, read your Bible, when we had 2,000 subs. I just kept hearing, read your Bible. That's what I kept hearing in my head over and over. Read your Bible, read your Bible. And one day I was outside, I was by the compost pile actually, and I heard, read your Bible. And I said, I am. And He said, no, on camera, you idiot. And I stopped. I literally had a shovel in my hand. I was shoveling compost, and I stopped, and I was like, oh. And I was standing there, kind of stroking my beard, going, this isn't what I signed up for. And I got the bone deep understanding of, I require it of you. This is why I'm convicting you to do this. I require it of you. You will do it. If you don't, you will be outside of my will. Okay. And I'm telling you, if you watch the Genesis 1 video on this channel, on the Shabbat playlist, I am nervous as hell. But I've understood, bone deep with this conviction, that I was to read my Bible on camera with y'all. Every word, from the first page to the last page. That's what we're going to do. We're just going to read the whole thing together. And He has blessed me in that. Deeply blessed me in that. And so, to pointedly answer your question, in that instance, what I heard was, read your Bible over and over and over again, coupled with this bone deep, gut wrenching conviction that if I didn't do it, it would be like if you had the opportunity to save somebody's life and you didn't. That's what it felt like. And then once you hear that voice, then He gets easier to listen to. Not long after that, I was walking around in my backyard and I was pissed because He was convicting me. I had that same crushing feeling, but I did not know what it was that I was supposed to do. And I was walking around in my backyard screaming at the sky, saying, Father, how am I supposed to do what you need me to do if you won't tell me what it is that I'm supposed to do? If you tell me, I will do it, but I can't do it if you don't tell me. I'm not a mind reader. I need you to speak to me in languages that I can understand. But I can feel you working. You are crushing me. And so I'm asking you, why are you crushing me? What is it you need me to do? You have my attention. What is it you need me to do? Because I can't take simply being crushed. I need direction. Exactly 24 hours later, in the same spot, I was supposed to be on the call with a client, and the client canceled for whatever reason. I don't remember who it was or why. I just know that I was supposed to be on the phone and I wasn't. And I was standing in my backyard in the same exact spot precisely 24 hours later. And I happened to check my email, which is literally not my job. That's Monica's job. But I just happened to check. And the top email that was there of 638 emails was from somebody named the Reverend Gilbert Abreu. And all it said, Bear, we need help. We're down here in Panama City, Florida, after Hurricane Michael, trying to fight the good fight, and we need help. Do you have time to talk? And then a phone number. Yeah, I do have time to talk. I was supposed to be on the phone with a client in the middle of a very busy schedule, and I wasn't. So I said, I'm supposed to be on the phone anyway. I'm gonna call this guy. I knew within 30 seconds of talking to the Reverend Gilbert Abreu, affectionately called the Rev, that he had an ordination of the Holy Spirit. I knew that crushing feeling was back, but now I knew what we were supposed to do. I said, Rev, I can't tell you how, but we're coming. We were on the phone for 5 minutes. 3 of it was the 2 of us praying for each other, and then we hung up. And then y'all, you badasses, fundraised $3,000 for our first ever Grindstone mission before Grindstone was even a thing, and we went to Florida. And I knew the moment I got there were 32 people that I never met before standing in the parking lot of this half-destroyed church that we were using as a fob, wearing bear shirts, standing there saying, we're here to help, what do we do? Aha. That's why you were crushing me. Because there is a kingdom that needs to be served. And that's what we're supposed to do, is to serve it. Thank you for getting my ass in gear, Father Yah. And so sometimes I physically hear a voice coupled with that gut-wrenching, massive magnitude of implication of you will listen. If you don't listen, you know it will not go well for you. You will be outside of my will. Other times, I just have that conviction and I wait for him to show me the thing that I need to see so that I can act on it. And I know the moment I see that thing, that that's the thing I'm supposed to act on. How wet? Probably from that air conditioning. Cool. Okay. Chill. So, that's how he talks to me. However, I firmly believe that he speaks to all of his children differently, i.e. in languages that they can understand. Some people find the Father in math, other people find him in music, some people just the way that plants and flowers and trees grow. See that. Some people it's the way that waves crash against the beach, or the way a child smiles and giggles, or the way a message is preached by a pastor. There's all these different ways that he can speak to us. But I really firmly believe that having a personal, i.e. a speaking relationship with him, really helps in order to be able to hear his voice. You start talking to him, he'll start talking back. And the other thing I would add to this is don't be shy about praise. Thank him for all the good stuff. If the only time you called your dad was to bitch at him, he'd probably get tired of taking your phone calls. Don't be afraid to give praise and give thanks, and to look for the silver linings amongst the storm clouds, because that's where he's at. That's where I find him, is in the blood and the sweat and the tears and the hard stuff. So He's never made it easy for me, but he's always made a way for me. And to whom much is given, much is required. And he has blessed me with a lot. And I don't mean material blessings. I mean massive opportunity for headship and leadership and stewardship. And I take it seriously. There's some nights that I stay up just stuff just pouring out of my face, praying at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. Just boogers and snot and tears and all that. Just getting it out and telling him how awesome he is. So, PJD, I hope that helps. I don't know if it does or not. I might just sound like a crazy person, but I hope that helps. I needed that. Awesome. Susan Bright, shalom. AVT, bless you, brother. The countdown to life, you just walked into a conversation about the Most High and DoorDash delivery of tactical cupcakes to my room.
Tactical ice cream cupcake.
What flavor is this?
Chocolate with cookies and cream.
Chocolate with cookies and cream on top.
It's in a wrapper. It's encased in chocolate.
What? Why is there a bite out of this?
Because I ate it.
Oh, so we're like sharing this? Hold on. How many different flavors are there? So, but there's 6 of them.
Yes.
So there's 2 of each kind.
Yes.
Okay. So you still handed me the one with the bite out of it. Oh my gosh.
This is a good, yeah.
Alright. There's actually ice cream inside this.
Yes.
You didn't tell me that.
I didn't know that until like I was reviewing it earlier. I was like, oh, okay. How is it?
It's all good. It's not a beard. I'm just storing calories for the apocalypse. What's your job title? That's funny. I'm the owner of Bear Independent. I'm the owner of Bear Facts. I am the director of operations and chairman of the board for Grindstone Ministries. I'm managing partner of Prosperity. I am a business consultant. I'm a father and a husband and some guy with a beard in the middle of the woods trying to carve out a homestead. And former professional drummer, subject matter expert for the DOD. Yes, sir. I'm also a guy eating a cupcake.
Friend of B-Man.
Friend of B-Man. That's a good one. Leader. Bless you. Son of Yah. Amen. So, shift in directions. This is not baked. This is a chocolate shell filled with ice cream with cookies and cream. Well, whatever the hell this is, it's frozen. It wasn't baked.
See, there's chocolate and there's cake
Oh, there's cake in the bottom of it?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for squaring me away, child. Jonathan, shalom. I feel like first of all, I can feel the diabetes happening right now in real time. Second of all, like, here's how I think they did this. They froze the chocolate shell, then they cut a little round of cake and put it in the bottom of the chocolate shell. Then they filled that with ice cream, then they put this frosting on top of it and then froze it. They probably filled it with ice cream, froze it, and then put this frosting on top of it and sent it like so. Diabetes. Shalom, Oki. Excuse me. Uh-huh. All right. Somebody said you operate like you worked military. I was not in the military, but I worked a lot with the military. So, speak the same languages, gone a lot of the same places, done a lot of the same things, cross-trained on a few things. Somebody said, what's the best drummer in Go? And then another somebody said, how long have you been playing drums? I believe at this point I've been playing drums almost 22 years. So, of all the things I've done, drumming's probably the longest of them. This is really freaking good, by the way. April Cisco, you're welcome. They might have. And then as far as best drummer ever Go, you can't pick just one, but the ones that I would pick, and I have picked previously on live streams, are all drummers that nobody has ever heard of, because the genre of music that I listen to and used to listen to is so wildly unpopular that even metalheads say, man, that stuff's too brutal. So, oh my goodness. Just want to be me when I grow up. I have such an awesome life. Praise Yah. Alright. Somebody said Travis Barker. He's good. He's not great. Lars is good. He's not great. Vinnie Paul was very good. Not great. They're all excellent drummers. They're not the best drummers. Nick Barker, particularly during his years with Dimmu Borgir, was phenomenal. Hellhammer, aka Jan Blomberg, from Mayhem predominantly, but especially his work with Arcturus is phenomenal. Frost from Satyricon in 1349 is an absolute beast. Trim from Emperor and Zyklon. Trim is an animal. I don't know if there's a better extreme metal drummer than Trim. He's just absolutely an animal. Derek Roddy. Derek Roddy is insanely talented. Incredibly good. That's right. That's right, Pro Steel Rain. Do I have any water bottles? There's 3 cases of them on the truck. However, the truck is not in here. I have 0 water bottles. You want a Miller Lite? Oh, wait a minute, you're a child. Bad idea.
Yeah. China does.
Danny Carey is good. What Danny Carey is particularly good at is overlapping two different time signatures. Playing, for example, 4/4 with his left hand and 3/4 with his right hand. Son, sure, go for it. I'm pretty sure the faucet water will not kill you. Joey Jordison is incredibly overrated in my book. He's good but not great. Neil Peart was great, absolutely great. Joey Jordison, what Joey has going for him is that he came right about the same time the drum triggering got really good. And so his drum sounds are awesome, but what he's actually playing is not terribly difficult. Anybody that knows how to play drums, I could spend a few weeks with you behind a drum kit and teach you to play everything that Joey has ever played. So, there's no intricacy, there's no backbeats, there's no syncopation, there's no time signature changes, there's none of that. It's just that. So, just a wall of sound. So, I'm glad you love that. Anyway, what else we got? I do like Bran from Mastodon, Bran Daler. He's a good drummer. Rivers of Nihil. Yeah, dude, I'm familiar with them. Chase Martin. What's going on? I've been preparing. I just find it funny how they keep warning us of what's actually happening. Hey, at least they're warning us, kind of. I mean, not enough people playing bongos. Yeah. So it was pretty funny this past weekend in Fayetteville. We did this TCCC training, which was awesome. And we got there early because it was a considerable distance from our house. And so we got there on Friday. We did Shabbat, sundown Friday through sundown Saturday. How do you feel about George Coleus? If you feel anything other than he's fabulous, we can't be friends, Savvy Actual. He's awesome. He's an absolute beast. Nile is a beast mode band. Anyway, so we spent sundown Friday on the porch where we were staying. There was a little front porch, so we hung out there, me and my team. It was awesome. And then Saturday, Shabbat, we had a couple of brothers come over and visit, and then some of the people who were coming to the class got there early, and so we ended up fellowshipping from like 1 o'clock until like midnight, I think. But the people who own the facility had told us, they said, yeah, right, there's a gazebo right out in the lawn, right by where y'all are staying, and there'll be some live music. It's, oh, cool, live music is cool. And so I've got my back to the gazebo and aka partying. Yes, partying, Tango Charlie, that is correct. And we there was lovely violin music coming. They did some good stuff. They really did some good stuff. And we're being us. We're on the porch. There's about a dozen of us, and there's a cooler full of beer, and there's 3 or 4 different bottles of whiskey on the thing, but there's also the Bibles out, and we're being us. Like, we are fellowshipping and Shabbat and constantly letting the word not depart from our mouth and edifying our brothers, and just it was great. It was a great time. I think, yes, and there was some Gatorade as well, Stumps, Roots, and Shoots. That is correct, particularly an orange cap of Gatorade, and y'all need glasses. But this lovely violin music keeps going on and on and on. And then when it's all said and done, I turn around and realize there's like between 50 and 75 people sitting right there trying to enjoy this violin music, and we're being us on this porch. That was interesting. Yes, I said lovely. Sitting in circles. Yes, they had spray painted social distancing circles on the lawn for people to to occupy so that they were appropriately social distanced from one another while listening to the violins as outside. It's the dumbest thing. But yeah, it was lovely. Wyoming TCCC training. If we have enough people, possibly. So you can email sales at Bear Independent if you got enough people. And we'll set it up. Good night, J-Dub. What's up, Mike Robinson? Lynn, yes, I know the word lovely. I know all the words. I actually greatly enjoy classical music. I really do. Backyard prepping, do you like pie? I feel like this is a setup. I mean, based upon that cupcake I just ate, what do you think? Cake is a lie. 3.141. Exactly. Oh man. Yeah, so the only thing that you can find in both places between Patreon and YouTube is the Daily Brief. And I post the Daily Brief live stream on Patreon so that people will get the alert because a lot of times YouTube will not alert people. So that way, if you're on Patreon, you'll see the link post every morning. Marpat Woodland, for show. But then, everything else that's on Patreon is 100% exclusive on Patreon. We don't duplicate content over there. And it actually takes, believe it or not, a minimum of 55 recorded videos per month to populate both Patreon and YouTube. So if that gives you an idea of how much content is at Patreon, it takes a minimum of 55 pieces of content per month between YouTube and Patreon. And you know damn well I'm not putting out 55 videos a month on YouTube. Lucy White, how much does it cost to go through the TCCC training? Right now, the 4-hour class is $250, and that includes the $100 TCCC trainer kit that has all the contents, the chest seals, the tourniquets, the combat gauze, the trauma bandage, so forth and so on, that we will be consuming in the class. So it's $250 with the training materials, which you take home with you after the class. If you ask me one more time about Shaunan, North Carolina, I'm gonna let all the blue wrenches get you at the same time, okay? Really, it's, don't. Now, it's $250. But you get $100 worth of training equipment that you keep, so it's really $150. And then if you want to add a Bear Fac to that, our Bear First Aid Kit, which is our version of the IFAC, I'm not saying this, it's legitimately the best IFAC on the market. You can do that for an additional $175, and they actually retail for $200. So you don't have to, but if you want to add one to the class, you save $25 on the kit. And then that kit would be delivered at the class, where we go through the kit and how to use it at the class. And so it's a 4-hour class. It's phenomenal. There's a lot of real world practical stuff in there, but it focuses primarily, the 4-hour class focuses primarily on the use of a combat application tourniquet, and on yourself and on others, strong hand, weak hand, and on both your legs, and wound packing with compressed gauze and or combat gauze, the application of trauma bandages emergency trauma dressings, you know, compression bandages and how to use those, and chest seals, and then like improvised tourniquets, stuff like that. But real world stuff, the basics of what you can do as an immediate responder to buy time for the person that's been shot. And so I won't spoil the class for those who haven't gone. But let's just say that the class opens with a pretty real world example of why you need to know these things, and you'd be amazed how quickly people can bleed out and die. So yeah, and here's the other thing I think that's important to point out. Not everybody there, in fact, I would say less than half of everybody there was like super ultra tactical. None of our people, I think a lot of our people are capable of doing the super ultra tactical things, but we don't, our self-worth is not based upon how much our Oakleys cost and whether or not we're wearing our frog gear, okay? So we had housewives there. We had women who brought their daughters with them to learn how to do this stuff. There is actually a considerable amount of women in the class. We had a husband that brought his wife with him so that she could learn. We had people ranging in age from their early 20s into their 70s. We had some former military personnel, but small business owners, employees, salespeople. It's just the whole gamut of people. You don't have to be. I will never forget the man in the videos. I keep seeing his face. I'm telling you, Tango Charlie, I agree. That's why we make those points. RJ, bless you. And so, get him, ABT. And so, anyway, you don't have to be, and you really probably shouldn't be Mr. Super Tough Guy to come to this class. This class is for everybody. It's for absolutely everybody. So, cold front is here. Sounds good to me. Oh, man. A1P, shalom, brother. Snow up here tonight, wow. Shalom, Solus McBride. Well, boys and gerbils, I think I'm going to jump off of here. I'm starting to feel like it's time to be asleep, and I got a couple of things to do before I sleep yet. I will very likely be live streaming from this exact spot tomorrow morning. I hope to see y'all there. Y'all have a wonderful evening. Appreciate y'all, Bear Nation. Shalom.